Welcome back to Hollywood Dreammaker. I am super excited to introduce my guest. He's a writer, he's a director, he produced his own film. I call him Mr. Clubhouse. He's taken a platform and he's really dominated on it. And I wanted to have my guest, Bobby Del Rio. Welcome to Hollywood Dreammaker podcast.
What's up, brother? How you doing, man? I'm glad we could finally do this, man. We've kept missing each other. You know what I mean? We kept trying to figure it out, but I'm glad we made it.
I know it was short, notice, but I'm glad you jumped on with me. I really appreciate it. So you're in Canada, I believe, right?
Yeah. I'm in Toronto, Canada. We've been locked down for, I don't know, 18 months or whatever, but it's crazy. Like now I'm repped in Hollywood. My agent's there. I got a couple managers who want to work with me as well. Got a 2-picture deal as a screenwriter from a Hollywood producer. I have a ton of things happening, man. It's crazy.
Love that. But the reason why I wanted to have you on the show is because Clubhouse. I don't know if people know what Clubhouse is. Maybe you can share what Clubhouse is.
Yeah, Clubhouse is like a new social media networking platform. It's kind of like Facebook if it was audio only. So it's in a way, it's sort of like commodifying public speaking. So if like talking was a currency, to be honest, if you're good at it, you can change your life. That's what happened to me. So this is like, I don't know, maybe my 25th interview in the last month, all around the world. I get interviewed all the time. I have so many contacts. I built, it's almost 13,500 followers in 4 months. Yeah, I didn't know anybody. I mean, maybe I knew like 100 of those people. They're all strangers. They just liked what I had to say, or they liked the way I built my rooms. And it's, my Instagram followers went from just like 1,000 to almost 5,000 in like 4 months. It's very real. I don't buy followers or anything. Everyone's like messaging me all the time. I went from getting 2 messages a week to like, I don't know, 500 a week. The number of DMs I get, it's very real. It just keeps going up.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Amazing. But you know what I love, so when I heard about this Clubhouse app, I jumped on it, just to see what's this about, right? And then, I was, what I do here at, my Manhattan Actor Studio and my podcast is I just want to help other people achieve the dream. If they have a dream to be an actor, writer, producer, director, whatever the Hollywood dream is, well, I've been doing this for a long time. I carved my way through Hollywood. I know the path. I know where the quicksand is. I know where the people you want to stay away from. I've been there. So I just want to serve. And I was like, well, this is a great platform to actually serve. Like, if there's some aspiring young actor out there that doesn't know how to get started, well, shit, I've been in the game for 44 years. Let me give you my advice, But then, I was listening to some rooms and, some people, there were a lot of fakers out there. There was a lot of pitching, a lot of, it wasn't about being of service, and that's what I'm all about. But what I loved about your rooms and about what you were doing is you had a different energy. You were coming from love, man. You were coming from light. Yeah. You were coming from, being of service. And I was like, that's pretty awesome. And early on, I reached out to you and I said, man, I'd like to create a room and I'd like you to moderate. I don't remember if you remember that. That was like when the first place just opened up.
Let's do it.
But me personally, I just been so busy that I haven't, but I had you on my notification. So every time it tells me when you're in a room, and I swear my phone is blowing up left and right. Bobby Del Rio's in a room.
Bad for you. I'm on it all the time.
Yeah, but that's amazing. But what you've done as you're an established writer. Like, tell me a little something about your writing.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm one of the most established playwrights in Canada. So I've written maybe like 10 hit plays or something, like a lot, right? Like pretty much every play I've written is like 4-star review or win an award or, the thing, right? Every single time, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. And then I made my first feature film. I took my best play, The Market, it's like this gangster movie about Wall Street, but I made it as a play. But then 50 to 100 people said this has to be a movie. So I figured out how to make it a movie. It took years. I ended up doing it, and I got a distribution deal at the beginning of quarantine. So now it's available on Amazon Prime in the US and the UK. And then I've probably done, at this point, it's got to be, I don't know, maybe 100 interviews about the movie just from an independent release.
Well, I love that.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
but Bobby, here's what you did. Okay, you
mm,
didn't sit around and wait for the phone to ring. Okay, you
no,
took massive action. You wrote a play, and then
yep,
you were inspired to make it a film.
yep,
And then you went out and you raised the money on what do you GoFundMe or Kickstarter,
yep,
one of these things, right? One of these, and
yep,
you raised money to make this film a reality. And you shot the film, and then you went out and you got yourself a distribution deal. So bravo, man. I tell
thanks,
my
man.
actors all the time, you don't wait for the friggin' phone to ring, man. Create your own stuff. Now in this day and age, we have these little cell phones in our pockets that it's a movie making machine. You can shoot a
Oh
film
yeah,
on this. You can write on this. You can edit on this. You have a studio right in your pocket. So
yep,
why wait? Why not take massive action and make your own stuff reality? And that's what you did.
yeah.
You know,
I never,
I love that.
I didn't even know how to make a film. There was all this stuff I didn't know, but I just believed in myself, you know, and I just like I'm gonna do it. I'm
Well,
just gonna do it. Yeah.
that's the most important thing is that belief in yourself that I can do this. I mean, I
Yeah.
produced a film, back in 1999. I went out and I raised $2 million to do a film, and I shot it in New York City. And my film is was shot on location in New York City, in the streets that I grew up in Brooklyn. And it was an idea, and then I went out and I made it a reality. I always dreamed of going back. When I was 11 years old, they were filming a movie in my neighborhood, and I got a bit by the bug. I got a little part in it, and I knew then, right then, I wanted to be an actor. And then, I always wanted to be the guy who comes back to the neighborhood and does the same exact thing that happened to me, is put some kids from the neighborhood into the film. And I was able to do that, and it was a dream come true, to be able to make that dream a reality. So
Oh, well, I was gonna say I mean, it's just it's so easy. It's so easy these days. The technology, like you say, you got a movie studio in your pocket. It's funny because I shot my feature a few years ago. It took years to get a distribution deal, right? It's just I never gave up though. I never gave years. Okay. But I remember I shot my film 2K, Black Magic. We were in the first feature films in Canada, shoot on the Black Magic. We shot 2K, and now my iPhone, where we're doing this, is 4K,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, and obviously the math is like slightly off, but it's like twice as powerful. The resolution is twice as good as my feature film. This phone, that's what we have in our pockets, and it's crazy.
So there's no excuses. You create your own stuff. So, you as a writer, when did you know that you wanted to be, a screenwriter? I mean, well, how, tell me about the beginning. How'd you know you wanted to do this?
I mean, to be honest, it happened by accident. I went to theater school. I'm a classically trained actor, so I was learning Shakespeare and restoration comedy, this kind of thing. And then I remember I ended up getting cast as the lead in a student's play, who became a friend. And it was just two of us, right? So it was like a two-hander, and he won an award. And he wrote this play. He directed the play, and we started in the play. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I was so impressed because he was like 20, and I was like, oh, maybe I could do that. I never knew that you could write a play. I just thought you'd have to I don't know what I thought. You have to buy it, or you have to, I don't know what I thought. And he was my age, and he wrote a play, and we won an award, right? And I was like, oh, let me try that. And then I wrote a play, and it was called Name It Yourself, and it was very experimental. But there was an arts magazine in Toronto called I Weekly, and they just thought my play was interesting, so they wrote a little preview article for me. I was very young as well, so it was kind of like, oh, look at this young guy, he wrote this interesting play. And I was really interested. My first play was called Name It Yourself. Like I said, it was like challenging all of the norms of theater. Like it was like this highly experimental piece as my first piece. And it had mixed responses, but then I wrote another play, and I won a playwriting award at the University of Toronto Drama Festival. And then all of a sudden, people started calling me this writer. And then I remounted the play at this festival in Toronto called Summerworks, while I was still an undergraduate student. And it ended up getting a 4-star review. They called it one of the best plays of the year. All of a sudden, I had my choice of 3 of the best talent agents in Canada. and then it just went from there. I was the star of a 30-minute documentary that aired on television. All of this started happening before I got my degree.
Wow.
That's how I started my career. So I had never intended to be a writer, right? I just kind of tried it, but I guess people liked what I had to say. And then since then, I've had this sort of epic writing career. To be honest, my acting career has been like good, but it's been, you know, I mean, it's hard to be an actor, right? It's hard to be a writer too, but for whatever reason, I've kind of never failed. Like every play that I've written, I only have the one movie, although I've been offered this 2-picture deal as a screenwriter. It's come pretty easily to me, to be honest, but I just put my heart and soul in every script, and I don't know, it just kind of works out.
That's awesome. You know, I tell my actors all the time, I said, you know, I challenge them. For next week's class, you got to write a monologue. Don't find one, write one. Write what you know, write from your heart. What do you got to say? You know, write one. And my young actors, my teen actors, they're blowing me away with their writing, man. I'm like, wow, the voice on these kids, you know, because they're writing from here, they're writing from their soul, they're writing, you know, they're shining a light on a subject, you know, that's deep, like, you know, suicide. And, you know, I mean, like, I'm like blown away on their talent. And they didn't even know they could write till somebody challenged them and said, you need to write. And then they did, and now they're writers. And I'm truly developing that.
You know what's funny is that, so on Clubhouse now, you know, I'm one of the most popular film mods. I'm becoming one of the most popular mods now. Like all the top influencers on Clubhouse, I'm friends with them all. Like we text and we do rooms together. I was helping to run a room with my friends, Emily Lyons and Carmelia, on Saturday. And we ran it up to 1,200 people were in that room. We ran it for 12 hours.
Wow.
It was still going when I left because I had to help Kat and Kel run their room. We got that up to 400, but I was on Clubhouse for 18 and a half hours running the biggest rooms on the app for 18 and a half hours.
So for people that don't know, what's a mod?
A mod is like, you're like one of the people in charge, basically. So a room is, it's almost like a live performance. It's almost like a live podcast. I would say most rooms on average get somewhere between 30 to 50 people. My rooms are consistently, I don't know, 100 to 150, but the rooms on Saturday, again, when I left after 12 hours, there was 1,200 people in the room just listening to like all of us talk. That one's about social media. And then Kat and Kel's got up to about 400, and that ran for 6.5 hours, I think. So it's really actually difficult to get that many people interested because there's, I don't know, thousands, tens of thousands of people running rooms at any given time. And I'm consistently in the biggest, and generally I'm a big part of why it's one of the biggest rooms on any given day on Clubhouse.
That's amazing. And you created that because, you know, you went on to Clubhouse, you know, I mean, how'd you hear about Clubhouse?
I was on Facebook and my friend Hiromi randomly said, hey, you should do Clubhouse, you'd be good at it. And I was like, all right, what's that? I was bored. I just tried it. I started with 0 followers like anybody else. And then all I do is talk. I don't even have a strategy. I'm just myself. But there's something about that medium where if you're willing to be yourself, I've cried on Clubhouse like 50 times.
Yeah.
Revealing the things, you know?
Your vulnerability is your strength, man. That's your power, man. Yeah. You know, especially men think, oh, men don't cry, or then, you know, you're not supposed to be vulnerable. But, you know, as an artist, as an actor, you want to be vulnerable. You want to be in touch with your emotions, you know, and be, you know, I mean, that's what makes you an artist is that sensitivity, you know, to be vulnerable is a powerful thing. And I heard that, and that's what I liked about you. And that's why I wanted to have you on this show, because it seemed to me like you were coming from your heart and to be of service. And for me, I know the secret to living is giving, is being of service. You know, for me as an actor, I've been blessed. I've been a working actor for 35 years, but you know, it was all about me. And when I had all that stuff, the material stuff and the fame and the stuff, there was something missing, man. I was like, is this it? You know, is this it? I mean, you know, but then I I got this calling, to open up my own school 7 years ago, and I found my true, I got the dream. Now I'm living my destiny, and I'm not trying, I'm making my destiny, which is, to be of service, is to be the guide. That's why my podcast is called the Hollywood Dreammaker Podcast, man. Does that make dreams a reality? You know how many actors knocked on that door right there and said, hey, man, I want to be an actor. I don't know how to get started. And you know what? They're all working actors right now. I met a guy at my pool last year. At my pool, my wife says, you should see this guy. He looks like, what's the actor that plays Jason Momoa? He looks like Jason Momoa,
Oh, yeah.
He's all, he's all buffed out and whatever. And I, my wife introduced it. We had a conversation, whatever. And he said he wanted to be an actor. And I said, well, cool. I have an acting studio. I said, you should come down to my school. So he spent some time with me. We did, I think he did like 12 weeks with me. And I taught him the ropes, and now he's booked his fifth project in a row. I mean, he just worked with Peter Berg on a big football commercial. I mean, he's booking left and right. He got his SAG job like this, his first audition.
Yeah.
So it's truly amazing, I mean, it blows my mind, but to me, that's where the reward is, to see somebody else, succeed. So it seems to me like you're kind of like a matchmaker, man. You're like introducing people, you're hooking people up, you're introducing people, and I mean, how has Clubhouse changed your life?
Well, look, I'm in Toronto, Canada, and then now my agent's in Hollywood. Like, I have a pretty good agent who reps me for acting and screenwriting. Like I said, it's been like, I don't know, 25 interviews or something in the last 4 weeks. Around the world, some major publications as well.
How'd that come about, though? How'd the agent, the agent?
They just like me. I mean, it's like, I'm just talking on Clubhouse, and they just like me, and they just talk to me. And then now I have an agent. There's a couple managers who want to work with me. I literally, there's maybe 15 to 20 collaborations if I want them to like work with them. I'm working with some of the top people on the app in Hollywood. It's every day. I was just a friend of mine who's an established producer in Hollywood, and we're talking about working together. Like, it's
amazing.
Thousands of people in Hollywood I just know now, and they like me, and we're talking. And obviously it's not going to be thousands of projects, but it might be 10. I mean, that's
you made that happen. You made that happen by hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, you put in the hours. It said 10,000 hours. You're putting in the hours right now, man.
I'm putting in 120 hours a week on Clubhouse.
That's crazy. I mean, that's a lot of hours, but you're making those connections, you're making those relationships, you're establishing who you are, and people, they like your energy. They like you as a person, and they want to, do more stuff with you. If I like you, that's what Hollywood's about. It's about relationships. It's who you know. It's hey, I like that guy. I want to work with that guy. If I'm going to be working on a set for 16, 17 hours for the next, a few months, I want to be with somebody I like.
And look, like, not everyone's going to like me. Some people don't like me, but over 13,000 people do. So, and it's like we work together. I respect you. I would like to work with you. I can learn from you as an actor.
Listen, when you come out to LA, you're more than welcome into my class.
Yeah, sure. Come check it out.
That'd be great. So,
you know what I mean?
So what's on the plate for you? What do you want to do?
Well, look, my plan is to come down to LA maybe for like a month, like September, October. I'm still locked down in Toronto. Like, we're still not supposed to leave our houses, dude. It's been like,
wow.
Yeah, it's bad. It's starting to get better. So hopefully by August, they're saying like things will be kind of normal, but we're still completely locked down. It hasn't changed for 6 months. It pretty much hasn't changed for 18 months. It's opening up a little bit here and there. So once all the travel restrictions have been lifted, then I'm going to go to LA for, I think a month is my plan, because my plan is to live there. So a month is a good time to because I already have rep. So it's more like, okay, figuring out, because I could just go back and forth, but I just love the vibe, man. The people I've met on the app, I have more friends in Los Angeles than I do in Toronto now. because I've made, I don't know, hundreds of friends, thousands of friends from this app, and they all want to hang out with me.
How has the pandemic changed your life?
Well, brother, like I ended up getting a distribution deal for my feature film at the beginning of the pandemic.
Wow.
And I spent years peddling it. Nobody wanted it. I was like, I was going to put it on YouTube. And then, you know, it was funny because I was talking to my friend who had optioned another project of mine. And I mentioned I was going to put it on YouTube. And then she's like, well, you know, I have a film distribution company, right? And what had happened is that, I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning of the pandemic, everything stopped. So nothing was shooting. And then there was a couple months, everyone had watched everything on Netflix and Amazon, Disney, whatever. Everyone had watched everything. So there was this gap. And so I had this film that had just been around for a long time, but never went anywhere. And actually also it's a conspiracy theory about the economy collapsing. And what had happened is that the economy collapsed because of COVID. So all of a sudden my movie that was like 5 years old or whatever seemed so relevant, and people needed content so badly. So I ended up getting a distribution deal. So I ended up getting all this press. I got all this attention. And then Clubhouse happened. And like today I had a friend of mine who's one of the top film investors on the app. He literally emailed me and he was like, your film deserved more attention. The writing was amazing. It should have hit theaters. I wish I would have seen it. It's like the number of people who know about me now and my film because of the pandemic. To be honest, if the pandemic never happened, I may not have gotten a distribution deal, right? Yeah. So it's my whole life has changed. Like now, if I don't go to LA, I have 10 people are like, whoa, we have to shoot this thing, or we're writing this thing, or we're like, I'm now at the point where it's actually prohibitive for me to not go to Los Angeles than to stay where I am because all my collaborators are in LA.
Well, you know what I love about you, and I don't even know you, is that you're the kind of guy that says, you know what, I'm going to make my shit happen. You know, I'm not going to sit around and wait for the phone to ring. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to carve my own path. And that's what you did. You carved your path with this whole new platform with Clubhouse. You carved your path in there and you made you networked, you made your, you know, now you got an agent, now you got manager, now you got collaborations. You created that out of fucking, excuse my French, COVID, out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, I call it the fertilizer, you know, during the shit of COVID. Like I planted the seeds of this podcast, man. That's where it came from. I was too busy to do. And then all of a sudden things calmed down. I said, you know what, I gotta create the podcast. But it happened in the fertilizer of COVID. So, you know, sometimes you got to look for the miracle because you think it's shit and there's a beautiful thing that comes out of it. If you plant those seeds and you water them and you give them sun and you make those dreams a reality. And that's exactly what you did.
Life is what you make it, man. You know, I was telling this story on Clubhouse where else today, a huge room, maybe it was 400 people in the room, I don't know. And I was talking about, I'm not going to say a name, but I have a friend who's become a celebrity in Hollywood. He's just miserable. Everything is miserable, right? And I'm like, you're like a celebrity. Oh, but like, it's like, you're going to complain. You're like a Hollywood celebrity and that's not good enough for you. And for me, here's the thing. If Clubhouse died today, nothing's going to stop me. I'll find another way. If I have to build a platform, I'll find a way. If I have to do a play, tour it in LA, I'll find a way. If I have to make my own movie like I did, I'll find a way. I do not give up. I'm not going to give up. I've been too successful in my life. And so my movie, The Market, I had 25 people I looked up to, people who I consider mentors, tell me, you can't make this movie. You're going to make a terrible movie. You're going to go bankrupt. You can get divorced. I did get divorced. I was like, oh, okay. But it was like every single thing, they were like, no. The only person who said yes was me. I said, well, I'm going to do it anyway. They're like, no. I was like, yes. And they were so angry. They were so mad that they couldn't break me. It was almost like the people who I looked up to, it's almost like they were invested in me failing. And I was like, I am not going to stop. And the way that I looked at it was, because for me, this was my best play. And I was like, I want people to see my best play when I die. That's what I thought. And I was like, the best way to do this is make a movie. because then you can see it the way I see it.
Mhm.
So the two stars of the film, Julian Dezadi and Kyle McDonald, two friends of mine, they're now like pretty big actors in Canada, but they were nobody. But they were my friends. They did a really good job. And I was like, you know what? I want people to see their work and my script, and I don't care whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. And, you know, in the end, it took a long time to get it done, but I had this 2-time Grammy nominee, an Emmy-winning composer, one of the top editors in Canada. He's watched my rough cut, and he said, this is the best dialogue I've ever seen in my life. I will commit to you for the rest of my career.
Wow.
On the spot.
Well,
and he did, and he finished my film. I'll send you the link.
That'd be great. Can you?
You know? And yeah, I'm gonna send you the link. But it was just like, you have to, and this is the way I look at it, you got to put a bullet in my head to stop me. And you can't just put a gun in my face. You have to pull the trigger, because I'm not going to stop. Nobody scares me. I'm from a low-income neighborhood in Toronto. I grew up where you look at somebody the wrong way, they're going to kick your ass if you're lucky and kill you if you're not lucky. I don't care. Pull the trigger. Otherwise, I'm going to go where I'm going to go, and that's it.
Yeah, but I think that breeds, you know, look, I'm from the streets of Brooklyn. I grew up in the 70s, you know, broken home. You know, I used to have to climb over the heroin addicts and the drug dealers, and I saw my best friend get shot in the head when I was 15. That's, I know that, but you know, that made me who I am. It gave me a thick skin. So when I came to Hollywood and people give me nothing, like, no big deal. I don't really give a shit.
Yeah,
you know, it wouldn't affect me.
I'll never work.
You know, I like, tell me no. Tell me I can't do something. But I love that you're that determined.
And that's
that you're that
determined. Well, that's the thing. It's like, okay, like blacklist me. If you're not gonna kill me, like I don't care. You know what I mean? Oh, okay, you're not gonna hire me for this? All right, I'm still alive. Okay, cool. I'll just make my own movie. You know what I mean? So that's it.
So Bobby, if I'm new, like I have never been on Clubhouse, and I want to like get on there and I want to learn, you know, like what advice would you give to somebody that's completely new, knows nothing about Clubhouse, how to get in there and start working that, you know, and being, you know, not working it, but being of value, adding, you know, what you have to offer, because, you know, I think everybody has a voice and everybody has something to bring to the table. So what's your advice to somebody?
I have very, you know, concrete, pragmatic advice. Spend as much time on the app as you can. We're at a unique period in history. People don't realize what a networking goldmine it is if you do it right. If you go and just listen, you'll get nothing out of it. Jump in 2 feet and speak as much as you can. Don't speak to dominate the conversation. Don't speak, you know, to be rude. Speak from your heart, but show yourself. We all have a voice. And you said this about your students, which I really appreciated. We all have a voice. Use it. Go into every room when you have something to say and say it. And there's a lot of people who are very shy. I am not shy. I go up to the mic every single time. I don't care if there's like 1,200 people in the room, like there were Saturday. You know what's funny is that I that night I was speaking and I was like helping to run that room for hours. Okay, so I'm like monologuing in a room of 1,200 people, and at the end of the night, I decided to chill out with some friends, and there were 12 people in the room. I went from 1,200 to 12, and I'm the same guy because I'm me. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You have to jump in, you find your people, and you speak with the voice that God gave you.
Love it. Love that. So what's the difference of, you know, like if joining a room or creating a room? Like what if somebody likes, you know, I don't know, their thing is knitting and they want to create a room about friggin' knitting. How does somebody go about doing that?
It's really easy. You really just push a button to start a room. And I tell people to do this all the time because so many people I think they just don't realize the power of the app if you do it right. Because let's say knitting, let's use knitting for an example, right? Well, As soon as you go like, oh, I like knitting, whatever you post, I like knitting is the name of the room. Everyone who likes knitting is going to come to that room. So even if, let's say only 8 people come, which does happen, it's pretty low. Usually you get more than that, but let's say it's only 8 people. You now have 8 people who also love knitting. So you just made 7 friends who are very similar to you. So what I tell people, you know, for example, there was this guy who's in Michigan and he wanted to make content. I go, well, you should start a room and literally call like Michigan content creators. Even if there's 12 of you, now you're networked to all the content creators in Michigan who saw it. And that's going to grow every time. So actually, you may appreciate this as well. So one of the first rooms I created was Italians in Hollywood, because I'm half Italian. So every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, I do Italians in Hollywood. I've been doing it for 4 months. I'm now one of the most connected people in the Italian community in Hollywood. Because so many people come through it. And it's like, it's a different thing. I'm half Italian, you're half Italian. We see things in a similar way, I think, because we have that in common. And there's so many of us that do. So I do things I'm interested in, but you have to be consistent, because so people know if you show up at 2 o'clock Pacific on Tuesday, Italians in Hollywood is happening and you're going to make some friends.
Love that. It's all about consistency in everything you do.
Yeah.
Love that. I have to jump onto that Italians in Hollywood.
It's fun, man.
Yeah.
Good time.
Alexia Malucki is in it, right?
Yeah. We started to.
Love that.
I love Alexia.
So yeah, I just did her podcast a couple of days ago. So
amazing. She's one of my closest friends on the app. I love Alexia.
She's a sweetheart. So advice, you know, like what have you learned? What are the golden nuggets that you've learned, you know, during this pandemic, during this time where you've kind of created, you know, I mean, you created Bobby Del Rio as a brand now. I mean, you really created that. And I love that, you know, what have you learned? What are the golden nuggets, the takeaways that you've gotten from this past, you know, year and a half during this
Good question. You're kind of like, what do you have, Puerto Rican, half Italian? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
You're like Puerto Rican Italian Howard Stern or something like that. Eh? I like that. I like that vibe. What have I learned? Whoever you are, there's a place for you. Be yourself. Show the ugly parts. Every moment you have a choice. You know, I have a lot of friends. They're just getting drunk. They're getting high every day of the pandemic. They're waiting it out. All right, I'm in Hollywood now. So you decide. You know what I mean? I wake up, you know, I'm on this app from 8 in the morning to 1 in the morning, right? I was literally running rooms Saturday from 9 in the morning to 3:30 in the morning. I didn't have a break. 18 and a half hours. I gained 400 extra followers in 1 day. Some people have been on the app the whole time I've been on the app, 4 months. They don't have 400 followers total. I got 400 new followers in a day. I average about 150, 175 new followers every single day.
Wow.
Okay. So, but I see the value, right? It's like the more that I put in, the more I get out. I build real relationships. I build real friendships. I'm putting projects together. Look, I know some of the richest people in the world now because of this app, right? I'm like talking to millionaires, billionaires, Hollywood executives, right? There's a guy, we had a conversation 4 days ago, and he's like, I have $100 to $500 million in these investments. I need this and that. Well, I'm like, okay, let's talk. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but I'm in my room, bro. I'm in my room. So what are my options? Okay, I could smoke a joint or something, or I could have a conversation with a guy talking $100 to $500 million. What would you rather do? The choice is yours. It's like you decide. Everybody's on there for Clubhouse. You can jump in or not, but for me, my life's changed and I'm not going to stop.
Love it. And you definitely, you know, you definitely can meet. I mean, look, I'm in the middle of a project, and I was, you know, I'm thinking, man, I got to get an entertainment lawyer for this contract or whatever. And, you know, I was on Clubhouse and there was a bunch of lawyers, man, entertainment room for lawyers. And I like just listened in, and I got so much value just listening on what was going on with, you know, the conversation in that room. I mean, it's access, you know, you have access to these people now, and then you
those are my friends. I'm a moderator in that room. Entertainment law exposed. I'm the top entertainment lawyers on the app now.
I love it, you know, and I'm in the process of trying to find a really good, you know, entertainment lawyer.
Yeah. So, well, go to that room, Entertainment Law Exposed. It's amazing.
That's awesome. What about, you know, any takeaway, any books you've read or anything, you know, that is really speaking to you right now?
I mean, look, I've been on Clubhouse, you know, all the time. I will say I ended up watching a limited series on Netflix. The only thing I've watched, I watched two things in the last 4 months. My friend Drew Davis was an EP on Trial of Chicago 7, Aaron Sorkin's movie. So they got nominated for 6 Academy Awards or whatever. So literally I met Drew on the app. He's a friend of mine. He's awesome. So I watched his movie to support him. And then I watched a limited series called Explained. They do a bunch of different themes. It's like a documentary series, just like 5 20-minute episodes about money. So yeah, there's all these different, it's very well researched to analyze different parts of money and the economic system. I studied economics originally at one of the best universities in the world. So one of the first things I did very practically is I created a room on Clubhouse called International Film Financing. So because of that, I know most of the top Hollywood producers on the app, most of the top international producers on the app. I know most top film financiers in the app. I know people who run banks. I know people who run the biggest hedge funds in the world, because every single week they come to my room.
That's awesome.
4 months.
Love it.
Yeah.
You're rubbing shoulders with, you know, you're making connections with the people that can actually fund a film, you know.
Yeah.
You write a script and you go, hey, I got a project.
Yeah. And look, it doesn't mean like, oh, write me a check. Here you go, Bobby. But it's like now, it's like we text, we call. Literally, like one of my friends I met there today, Hollywood producer, established credits all across the board, A-list talent. And it's like, oh, let's work together. Send her a script. Maybe it works out. You know what I mean? It's like, but we're like friends. We talk for 90 minutes, right? These are my friends. So that I'm just saying, it's like, we always have choices with our time. For me, I believe that I can achieve anything. So I go, okay. And again, it's not all about me. As much as I have dreams and goals, all my rooms are about the audience. My room, International Film Financing, yes, I have all these connections, but it's to help people to learn, how do you make your dreams come true? How do you put projects at an international level? How do you, like, everything I'm doing is about the audience.
Love that. You know, you're making it happen. You're putting the connections together. It's awesome, Bobby. So if you could go back, Bobby, to the younger you and give yourself some advice, some life advice, some career advice, what would you give yourself?
Just enjoy it more. It just, I mean, you know, we've been in the game how long, and you've been in the game longer than I have, and it goes by like that. Just enjoy it, man. I spend so many times just trying to get the newspaper article or the award or the TV gig or whatever you think is going to make you happy, and it doesn't make you happy. It's just a job. It's a job we love, but if you don't have your life figured out, your soul, nothing is going to fill that void. So just enjoy your life, man. We're artists. Just we're lucky to be alive. We're lucky to make art, and we should just enjoy it.
Great advice. You know, it's a journey, man. Enjoy the ride. It's a beautiful ride. It's an amazing, you know, being an artist is such a gift. You know, it's a God-given gift, and it's, you know, it's really truly about shining your light to the world. You know, the world needs that. They need your light, you know, and you're shining your light. So I applaud you.
Thank you. Well, I applaud you, brother. I love what you're doing. The setup is amazing, and you've got a good vibe, and already I can tell you're a great actor. You're so much passion and intensity, and I would love to work with you. If we can find a project, it'd be great to work with you. Well,
you know, I'm open to that. You know, I'm always looking for scripts. You know, I'm a producer. I'm always looking for some good material. Yeah. You know, so I would love that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Bobby.
So we'll go from there.
Send me the film. I would love to see your film. Send me the link.
Yeah.
Okay. So Bobby, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show, for dropping some gold. You know, if somebody wants to, you know, follow you, or where do they find you? What are your social media handles?
At Bobby Del Rio on Instagram. I do respond to every DM. Sometimes that's gets me in trouble, but I do. Obviously, if somebody just wants to pitch me, then I'm like, okay, like relax, please. But I'll talk to anybody. I'm on Twitter at Bobman, and I'm on Facebook, and obviously Clubhouse.
Great, awesome. I'm looking forward to putting a room together. Once my schedule frees up a little bit, I think I have a lot to say, and I'd love to have you as do what you do, moderate.
Yeah, well, let's come out. And look, if you can come to Italians in Hollywood, come out.
When is it?
Time. Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, I'm booked on that day. One of these days, maybe I get a cancellation, I'll jump on.
Yeah, right. Every Tuesday.
Hey, when you get out to LA, give me a call.
Oh, I will.
We'll hook up. All right, Bobby. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate the time.
All right, take care.
Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Please rate, review, share this with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't. Please take whatever you get from here, the golden nuggets, and apply them to your career. Go after your dreams with passion. Don't let anybody tell you it can't be done. I believe in you. Follow your dreams. I'll see you in Hollywood.